Welcome back to Victoria 3. We are going to dive in as Spain, hoping to go for the Bourbon Restored achievement. We are playing through with the hegemony tutorial enabled. It's the easiest way to get into Spain, and there's no harm getting some useful tooltips out of the journal, etc. Now, the first thing we need to do as Spain is get our economy right, get our military set up, and then we're going to probably, look to retake some Spanish Empire. Yeah, that mightn't be the most logical thing to go for the achievement, which is all about getting the standard of living to 20, so conquering some overseas territory with a lower standard of living. Mightn't help us achieve that objective real quick, but it's probably a bit more fun. And we do have a sizable military that might as well be used. Now, right away, so as Spain, we have our own market, and we are the 8th ranked power. We start with 2 puppets, and the Portuguese owe us an obligation. We can also see we don't have great relations with France and Great Britain, which we will probably look to do something about. Let's do that right away. We're going to declare some interests. I fancy retake some land down here, and I fancy doing some colonizing in here. No interest in the Baltic. No problem having some Italy. Don't need Occitania though. Grab that as well. Don't need southern France. Okay. So that's our interest sorted. From a technology point of view, I think we want to get technology under control. And we want to get our agriculture going. Now, we have some negatives up here. We are losing a lot of bureaucracy, and we are losing some money. From point of view of bureaucracy, the easiest way to get that improved is to get some more government administrations. If we look, we have a number of states that don't have any. So we'll obviously want to get them added there, and that's one of the things holding us back. But I think we also want to get more building now. So these southern territories already has one, about 100,000. And then we want to get ones online for these other states that have about 100,000. And then we want 2 in the states that are over 200,000. I think that is a pretty reasonable place to begin. They'll come online pretty quickly. Now, we could be a bit smarter about this. So if we then look at government centres, we don't have one in Galicia. We don't have one in Asturias. We don't have one in Aragon. And we don't have one in Puerto Rico. They're the highest priorities, I think. And if we now go back to our building queue, this first construction centre is being built in Galicia, so we'll prioritise that. This next one has been built in Asturias, so we can get that built after its construction centre. And then Aragon and Puerto Rico, I don't think were places we... Yeah, there we go, Aragon. And then get the other one up. Okay, there we go. We'll get our construction online, then we'll get some missing government administrations. So that is like 2 years of building right there. Now, I think when these first construction centres come online, that will improve some of that building. We have flotillas in reserve, we have battalions in reserve because we have a shortage of commanders. If we have a look, we have Surveyor, Persistent Pillager, Diplomat Ambitious. Let's have a look what else we can bring on board. Cautious Pillager, Wrathful Defensive Strategist, Catholic Church and armed forces. I don't think we've any interest in bolstering the Catholic Church, so we'll grab this guy. And then we will do the same. Supply requisitions export is actually quite nice. Now, each of those is actually increasing our bureaucracy penalty, so there could be a valid reason to, while we're not at war and not planning to be at war, not necessarily carrying a full complement of generals. So we'll leave the Navy. Now the next thing for us to look at is our market. We have a big negative on grain production, on clothes production, on services, and on furniture, and we have quite a sizable surplus on sugar. So let's see if we can sell some sugar. The Russians will buy some, and the Austrians will buy some. Belgian market should turn a tidy profit as well. We have good surplus of wood, but we're about to use a lot of that in construction, so I think we'll leave that alone. Then from an import point of view, there's probably no harm in buying some grain at this early stage. And then we need to balance the books. We're going to lower government wages. And we're going to do some taxation. Now, liquor tax is only bringing in 1.85, so I think we'll actually scrap the liquor tax. And instead tax... We could just tax grain temporarily. We'll probably want to turn that off soon. It's a huge amount of authority that you put into this. But it will, like, completely wipe out our deficit in one go. Alternatively, services close. Yeah, let's do a grain tax. And we will increase there. So we're now turning a positive. We have a plan to improve our bureaucracy. We still have battalions and flotillas in reserve. Diplomats. Ambitious. So we'll retire him, get some bureaucracy back. Fleets have gone online. Up the speed. Keep an eye on our buildings. So look, those construction centres nearly finished. Then this one should plummet from 1 week. Not much, no. Should, well, I suppose we only did build one construction centre. So we look here. This is Asturias. Give it a second construction centre. Let's see if we can get this down. Got a few more notes here. Low government legitimacy. So let's reform our government. Okay, so when we have a look at reforming the government, which lacks legitimacy, only 12%. So any kind of combination is going to be challenging. One of the laws that we want to bring in is allowing colonialism. Armed forces support that, so that is an improvement. Intelligentsia will improve it further, getting rid of the church. This gets us over 50%, which is pretty much a requirement to be able to bring through laws. However, they are angry due to a series of laws that we have that they are not happy with. Now, changing laws with a government that lacks legitimacy is going to be a real problem. So, that is not a government we're going to be able to form. And the best we can get is a reform up to about 20%, which we could look to do. And then we could look to try and bring in colonial exploitation, which with the low bureaucracy is going to be a bit of a problem to try and force through. And then after that, I think we would probably look to improve the opinion of the intelligentsia by looking at some of the laws they're not happy with, particularly maybe slavery. So we've done our building, we have reformed our government, expensive military, that's fine. Low government legitimacy remains low until we get the intelligentsia able to be viable in government. We're not going to be able to form a government. Now, we're going to let this tick through a little bit. If we look back at our buildings, these are coming online. We're improving relations with the English and the French. and the construction centres are being built. They're employing people. Administration centres are being built. So, if you look, this one is in Aragon. This is in Aragon. Peace treaty there. The Brazilians have concluded their war. 19 weeks. So we're taking so where we have these construction centres in these areas, they're building quicker, and we're getting this down. It's now below 200 negative. We have our first event. We've discovered our rivals. The two Sicilies are arming the Duella natives in Spanish South Cameroon. We should look to de-escalate the situation. Spanish South Cameroon gets colonial de-escalation for 5 years. The Duella get improvement to their combat abilities. Or our relations towards the two Sicilies deteriorate. I'm okay with that outcome. If we look, the two Sicilies have less military than us. They have no allies currently, and they have declared a rivalry with us. Now, we can declare a rivalry back with them, and it will increase our influence. Now, if we have a look at some of so we have an interest in the Italian states. So two Sicilies, we know, has battalions. Sardinia Piedmont has 40 and is looking to improve. So if we look at two Sicilies, if we go interactions, if we say try to conquer Sicily, the French, Prussians and Austrians would come in on their side. If we tried to conquer Piedmont, two Sicilies would come in on their side. So combined, they would have a similar military to us. Would not appear that anyone would definitely come in on their side, and we could look to try and sway to avoid it. So Tuscany could be an early conquest target in Europe. There's not many early European targets they have. They're not particularly strong. They only have 10 battalions with 5 in reserve. Quick look at their barracks, and they are running line infantry the same as we are, and they are artillery supported. So they have, you know, the same military technology as us. They have 1.6 million people living there. Would be a good increase to our population, over 10%, about 10%, a little less. You know, if you look around, you know, play on Morocco. So you're trying to capture Marrakesh. No. The French will sometimes look to intervene in this since they have a declared interest in the region, but they're not definitely going to play. Marrakesh has a bigger population, now it's more impoverished and potentially has some interesting goods, and if we look at their military, they're irregular, so it'll be a much easier conquest area. We are able to make plays into the Caribbean because we have territory there. We are able to make a play in South America because we've declared some interest there. And if we come over, into Africa, we have Spanish South Cameroon, which we could look to incorporate, but it's not a big population, so there's probably not a lot of value in incorporating it into our state. So we start with that colony, and we also have the Canaries here, which are also non-incorporated. 200,000 people living down here, so this is potentially fascinating. A lot of options available. Victoria 3 is a really deep game. So I'm going to end the episode there, and we will continue our Let's Play Spain, going through the Bourbon restoration achievements in the next episode. Please like and subscribe to see more Victoria 3, both gameplay as well as reviews and tip videos. Thanks for watching. Catch you next.